Do not let people make you feel bad for feeling the way that you feel about your story. He's not gonna do it again. He wouldn't do that. You guys should still come around to make him feel uncomfortable. This ain't got shit to do with him. He's not gonna do it again. You're right, because I'm not coming around so he can do it again. How about that? Hey y'all, I just wanted to come and tell you guys a story time about me, and I hope you guys watch and enjoy. But first I'm gonna read a story of another situation that's really similar to what my story is. Okay, let's read it. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. This has to do with sexual content involving minors, okay? YouTube, please don't flag this video. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't be telling this story, but we shall see. We're just gonna go forward with it and go from there. Okay, so pretty much the story is, am I the asshole for not inviting my brother on our family barbecue cookout because of my daughter? So our family has this big barbecue cookout. These events are really big for our family, almost like a festival. So everyone closer comes to us. Recently, my daughter, who is 13 years old, seemed really upset and tried to make it a proposition or to avoid it overall, which was just odd because she loves these family cookouts. She wouldn't tell me the reason until she finally broke down and did. She said that she is not comfortable with her uncle, Frank, my brother, whom I asked her why she thinks like that. She says he gives her weird vibes. Some things he does that really makes her uncomfortable. Hugging her really tight, holding her waist gently, always gives some excuse to be near to her. She claims that she caught him looking at her chest. He also makes comments like, "You are going to be a heartbreaker. You are turning into a really beautiful woman. You are very mature for your age." Last cookout, he asked her if she'd ever kissed anyone. When she was shy, he told her, "Don't worry about it. I won't tell anyone. It will be our little secret." I asked her if she would be comfortable if we did not invite him. She agreed. I did just that. I only invited my mom, my dad, my younger brother, and my sister. Frank knew that I didn't invite him. I just said what my daughter told me. Frank took it as an offense and said that my daughter is lying. In fact, she was the one who always comes onto him. I told him I cannot have him around her. I am sorry, but I have to respect my daughter's boundary. The whole family is divided, but most of them took Frank's side. They think that my daughter is just lying for attention. I can tell she is not lying because I heard her crying, because she thinks her family really hates her. I told her that this is not the case and not to blame herself. My brother said Frank since hasn't done anything and it would be unfair to uninvite him because what he said was just words, not like he meant it, and just tell my daughter to stay away from him, and if he makes her uncomfortable, stay away from him. The only person that is on my side is my wife. She is sure Frank is showcasing predator behavior towards our daughter. She was groomed when she was a teenager and says this is exactly how it starts. I don't know. I do want my daughter to feel safe. Frank has never shown any type of predator behavior. In fact, I've heard him say a lot of the times that pedophiles should be sentenced to death. He is overprotective over his own daughter, but on the other hand, I cannot ignore my daughter's feelings. Did I do something wrong? Okay. Now, to this dad, this would be my response to him as somebody who's been in a similar situation where I was actually, was I 14? I was either 13 or 14. I was going to high school. I was in between 8th grade, summer of 8th grade, going into 9th grade year of high school. And somebody that was living with my mom and I at the time had made a pass at me. It was very inappropriate. It was very weird and uncomfortable. I was actually in my room minding my business on the phone with my boyfriend at the time, you know. And it was so strange that this person had came down into my room and had made a pass at me and asked me just the same question: had I ever kissed anybody, or if I've ever taken it past kissing. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is not a question or a conversation that somebody in my family should be upholding with a 14-year-old, personally. So from my experience, I have been through this entire situation where, just like this younger girl, this 13-year-old, where her uncle has said inappropriate at. So I ended up like calling my mom, like, hey, where are you? Like, just constantly keep being that annoying 13-14-year-old, like, where are you? What time are you getting off? You said you were getting off at this time, but you're not here yet. Where are you? Da, 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 da. So I ended up on the phone with my boyfriend at the time, the guy that I was talking to at the time, and we were just chopping it up. And I heard this person come downstairs and again asked me, had I ever done anything inappropriate, like kissing with this person that I was on the phone with. So it was very, like, really weird, really I was very, very, very uncomfortable. And I'm one of those people, I pay attention to body language. You could very much tell that I was very uncomfortable. So eventually, I don't remember what happened. Like, the person that was in the house with me at the time was is a family member, needless to say. And I ended up getting off of the phone with my boyfriend at the time. I can't remember exactly like how the conversation ended. I feel like he had to do something as well, so that's why we ended up getting off the phone. And I was just praying like somebody would please call me, because the person that was in the house with me, this family member, was right there and would not leave. Like, mind you, again, I'm in my room. I have not left my room. And one could say, I know a lot of parents have an issue with, like, okay, if there's a man in the house, you aren't to leave your room with short shorts, or like you're supposed to be dressed appropriately. And I have a ick about that, because it's like, if I'm in the comfort of my own home, yeah, I'm not gonna come out in like a panties and bra if I know that there's an older gentleman in the house. You know what I mean? Like, or a grown person in the house. I'm not, or boys rather, because even some people, older siblings, I'm not gonna walk outside like that. And I don't think that that's okay. But if I'm in the comfort of my own room, I don't think that boundary should be crossed. Like, I should be left alone, personally. And so should my child, if I do indeed have a daughter. That conversation was very inappropriate. I ended up going upstairs, and I'm thinking that this person had left. They didn't leave. This person was actually upstairs, and I was about to get in the shower, and this person was asking me now. It went from kissing to now we're upstairs and you're asking me had I ever had sex. But not really saying the word, but just hinting towards that narrative or that type of conversation. And I'm just trying to play dumb, like I don't know, like what are you talking about? But I know exactly what you're talking about. And it was just like, oh, have you ever done it? And I'm like, no, I haven't. It was just really weird. I was very uncomfortable. And I remember being touched like, oh, it's okay. Like not inappropriate to where you're like, you know, just inappropriate. Like I really tried to like go in my mind and like block this part of me. So there's like bits and pieces that I do remember and bits and pieces that I don't remember exactly like what was said verbatim. But just know that it was very inappropriate and I was very uncomfortable. And eventually this person was like, because it's just me and this person in my home, okay? In my home. My safe space is now tarnished and uncomfortable because of this situation. And I ended up just on the win. I can't even to this day tell you exactly what came over me, but I do remember telling this person, I am on my period. And then they started to ask, okay, when do you get off? How long does it last? So now we taking it to again, I didn't know what to do in this situation. So I probably shouldn't have gone to this extreme. But what do you do as a 13, 14-year-old? Like, what do you say to somebody that's telling you like, this is supposed to be our little secret? And you thinking in your head like what am I supposed to, like when I tell you stuck, it was like a frog was in my throat. My mouth was salivating. I didn't know what, like I did not know what to do in this situation. It got to the point where again this person asked, how long does my period last? And I'm just like, well, it usually lasts for 9 days. Knowing damn well that's a goddamn lie, okay? But I just was like, I'm gonna just say anything in order to get this person to leave me alone. I'm just trying to get in the shower in peace, get dressed so that my mom can come and get me. And usually this person is asleep at the time during the day because they worked at night. So I didn't have to see this person like that, because majority of the time that they were living with me and my mom, they were asleep during the day, so I didn't have to worry about anything and stuff like that. But yeah, it just nobody couldn't tell anybody, couldn't tell nobody. Now, I don't remember if I was threatened in any way, but basically you telling me not to tell anybody and you keep reassuring me not to tell anybody is basically a threat to me. It's basically a threat. So Then eventually, like, I'm trying to go in the bathroom because I'm thinking, okay, now I can make a run for it to the bathroom, lock the door, and just stay in there and don't come out until my mother gets home, because she's claiming that she's on the way. So now I am reaching to get in the bathroom, and this man literally comes down and kisses me on my lips, y'all. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Flashbacks. Now I'm getting flashbacks. And I remember going in the bathroom and just staying in there. And I'm texting my mom, like, where are you? Are you on the way yet? Where are you? Like, I'm blowing her phone up because I'm trying to leave this house, but I'm 14. I can't just run out of the house and leave. I don't know what the freak to do. So my mom is now like,
why do you keep calling me? Leave me alone. I'm gonna get there when
one night in particular, I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I was using a house phone. This was like back in 2013, 2014, somewhere in between there, right? So I ended up on the phone with my cousin, and I told her what happened because I felt comfortable enough to tell somebody rather than nobody. But she was like, you have to tell your mom. And I'm just like, how do you tell your mom? Like, let me tell y'all how I was thinking. I'm 14. I'm essentially a minor who is not, what if nobody believes me? What if I'm removed out of my home? Like, so many things were in my head. And at the time, I didn't know how, like, I was so scared. I was so fearful. And that's why I told y'all the story in the beginning, because from a older version of me, if I could talk to myself, I would tell myself, like, don't be afraid. Don't be fearful of people judging you, people saying that it's your fault. What were you wearing? Like, don't be afraid. Especially, it doesn't matter how old this person is, if they're your uncle, you're a friend, like anything, an older sibling, anybody that inappropriately makes any type of comment about any of your body parts, whether you're gonna be a beautiful woman, whether you're gonna be breaking hearts, whether guys are gonna be breaking necks, that is not a conversation for any older person to be having with a minor. I don't care what you may think. I genuinely don't care. And I can commend this girl for actually having the courage to tell somebody. I always recommend telling somebody. No matter if the person threatens to harm you or harm anybody in the family after making the inappropriate remarks or inappropriate touching or anything like that, don't be afraid to tell somebody. Do you hear me? You have to tell somebody. You have to. Not only for your well-being or your conscience to be clear, but also so that they're not able to do that to someone else. And going through that aspect, I'm just gonna fast forward to today, like where I am now with that situation. I don't go to a lot of family functions because of this situation. I try to stay to myself. I am very much so ignored about how I feel about the situation. I don't know what was told. I've heard so many stories of this person saying that I was the person that approached them. Now, I don't know whether this part is true or not, but it got back to me that this person apparently told other people in my family that I was the one who inappropriately said something to them, have been making passes at them. And I'm just thinking to myself, how can a 14-year-old come on to you and you be okay with not telling anybody? Doesn't that, even if that is the case, doesn't that still make you a part of the problem? Why wouldn't you, as an adult, if that is the case, why wouldn't you go tell somebody? And for you to come out and say that somebody is lying, a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old is not just gonna make that shit up. And it can't be the first time something like that has happened, where someone has said that you have made a pass at them around the same age range. There has to be something wrong with that. But today I deal with family members saying nasty remarks like, oh, y'all still on that, y'all still don't want to come around because of that, you guys still. And my mom feels the exact same way. Like, why would we come around? Why should I put my feelings to the side just so that we could continue having Christmas the same, Thanksgiving the same? The holidays will never be the same. It will never be the same. And this is my public way of telling the world, like, you don't have to conform to what other people may think of you based off of it. Dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncle, I don't care who it is. Do not let people make you feel bad for feeling the way that you feel about your story. To this very day, I still get these smart remarks. Oh, Christmas will never be the same. You guys are still on that. You guys are still on that. You guys still haven't moved on. He's not going to do it again. He's not going to do it again. You're right. Because I'm not coming around so he can do it again. How about that? And my kid won't be around either. When I do decide to have them, don't think that me and my kids are going to be around either, because it's not happening. When it first happened, I remember family members saying like exactly that. You guys should get over it. He's not going to do it again. He wouldn't do that. You guys should still come around to make him feel uncomfortable. This ain't got shit to do with him. If I'm uncomfortable, if you love me as your granddaughter, your niece, your cousin, you should not be okay with me being uncomfortable for this said person. And that is why I know that personally I am the black sheep of the family. And I am perfectly okay with that. And I know, specifically speaking, that people will be so upset that I am putting this out in the atmosphere and in the public eye. But I genuinely do not care. Because I want people to know that there's another little girl that's probably, if not the same age that I was then at 13 or 14, there's probably somebody younger than me, if not the same age as me then, that is dealing with the same mental heaviness that I felt during that time. You know how, like, it took everything in me to tell I didn't even tell my mom. I didn't tell my mom myself. My cousin did it for me. And then my mom called me in her room while this said person was still upstairs in my house, making me uncomfortable. And my mom was wondering why wasn't I coming out of my room. That was why. I was fucking uncomfortable in my own damn house. And you mean to tell me that I should be uncomfortable everywhere else I go to make this person uncomfortable? How does that work if I'm the one really uncomfortable? I don't understand that, and I need people to understand. And I took some notes down for people as mother. Thank God my mom believed me. And I don't know, and I don't care about everybody else's in the family, like if they believe me or not. Because at the end of the day, it's my story. And I'm, God willing, God able to tell it. So I'm going to tell it. And regardless of how people may feel, it's a part of me. It's a part of who I am, and it's my story to tell, and I'm going to tell it. So, okay. If anyone that is a pedophile gets caught, number one, the first thing they're gonna say, oh, she's lying, or oh, he's lying. Because don't think that little boys are off limits too. Some of these women that have sons, they sometimes experience it as well, just like little girls do too. So don't think that your little boys are off limit as well. I'm just being 100% honest. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only girl. I'm not the only gender that goes through it. So, or we're not the only gender that goes through it, rather. So the first thing they're gonna say is, oh, that person is lying. Then they're gonna say, your child came on to me. Okay? That is the number one. Those two right there, they're lying. Then they're gonna say that your child came on to me. Those two right there are the biggest red flags. Do you hear me? The biggest red flags, okay? Then say, after reading this story, knowing that his wife was able to tell him, like, that's how it starts with the smart remarks or the inappropriate conversation. Have you ever kissed anybody? Same thing happened to me. That's how pedophilia starts, okay? That is, they might not act on it, but they'll start by making the inappropriate conversation or trying to form the inappropriate conversation, and then they'll get on to actual I can relate to this story because my mother did as well. She dealt with it as a younger, I think she said she was probably around the same age that I was when it happened to me with her uncle. So similar situations, and I feel like thankfully my mom never spoke up about the situation that she dealt with, but thankfully I'm praying to God that I broke the curse and it doesn't happen to my kids further, because now I've made it a public thing, so where people know about this situation that has happened to me, and this person knows that I am very uncomfortable, and I don't want to be around, and I won't be around. Of course, it's been years, but I'm still very much so dealing with the healing part of it. Thankfully, I didn't cry. I usually do cry, but I can tell that we're moving forward. Thank you. But yeah, like I don't think that you should, as a parent, force your child to be uncomfortable or put into uncomfortable situations. And I also hate that I'm now like, don't even want to go around. I can't go around family members because I'm uncomfortable. And then the nasty remarks. I remember one of my aunts specifically, one year for Christmas, I ended up going with my cousin, and I told her I was going to stay in the car because I was really at my friend's house, and she had came over with me at the time. And she ended up saying, like, we're going to go to my grandparents' house because there's gifts there. I told her I'm not going. She was like, you gotta come with me, don't make me go by myself. So I was like, okay, fine, but I'm not going inside, I'm staying in the car, because I knew that he was gonna be there. So when I got there, I stayed in the car, but she was in there longer than expected. So her mom, I think, or my grandpa, either her mom or my grandpa ended up coming outside, and it's like, why are you sitting out in the car? And I'm like, I'm not coming in there. Like, y'all not gonna make me come in there. And I remember a few people ended up coming outside to the garage to see me, because, you know, somebody had went inside and told them that I'm sitting in the car. And I told them I'm not going inside. And I remember my aunt came outside, and either she came outside or I ended up getting out, going into the garage. But I saw him sitting in the house because we could see in the house from the garage. And I was like, I'm not going inside. Like, I'm for real. And she was like, oh, you guys are still on that? Like, where's your mom? So this is how it's going to be every year? Yeah. If it was one of your daughters, what the fuck would you do? I'm just curious to know. If it was one of your two daughters, what would you really do? I don't think you would be feeling the same way. And that's why I say, like, some things, I know that I am the black sheep of my family. I know that shit for a fact. Because nobody in their right mind would be able to say, like, you wouldn't tell that shit to your kid. And you don't know that I'm the one that really is uncomfortable. And my mom is not going to come around somewhere where I'm uncomfortable. Like, she respects my boundaries just like these two parents did as well. Respect their child's boundaries. If she says she don't want to go around him, don't bring him around her. And that's just simply how I see it. I don't understand why it has to be a big old issue as to why you feel like you should be voicing your opinion on what I'm doing or what my mother is doing. I'm like, my mom is not coming around, and neither am I. So, yes, Christmas is going to be like this every year. Thanksgiving is going to be like this every year. New Year's is going to be like this every year. Holidays is going to be like this every year. We're not doing that. We aren't doing that. And I'm not going nowhere where I got to feel like I got to be looking over my shoulder every 5 seconds because I'm uncomfortable. I shouldn't have to. Not in my own space. Thank you guys for tuning in for this story time or this chit chat with me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and tell me your thoughts. Like, what do you think, or do you think I'm wrong for feeling the way that I'm feeling, or do you think my actions are justified, my thoughts are justified, my feelings are justified? Please let me know down in the comments, or let me know if you guys have any stories or similar situations, or know if anybody has gone through something similar and if you could be of help, or if this story could be of help to them, or situation could be of help to them to better assess the situation and to feel comfortable. Because I know that I am not alone, and I know that there are a plethora of young women and young men who are dealing with the same thing and are afraid to speak out. And just because somebody waits 10, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years to speak out about SA or molestation does not mean that they're lying. And I'm gonna leave y'all on that tidbit. I love you guys, and I hope you guys tune in for the next vlog or story time. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.